November 23, 2025, a date that could mark a turning point in the geopolitics of the Horn of Africa. In Brussels, a question echoes with new urgency, one that could reshape borders and alliances across an entire continent. Is the European Union about to recognize the Republic of Somaliland, a move that would upend decades of established policy? For 33 years, Somaliland has stood as a stable, democratic outlier in the Horn of Africa, holding regular elections, securing its borders, and building robust institutions, all while being denied international legitimacy. Its people have persevered, developing a sense of national identity and pride, even as the world looked away. Now, as global crises shift alliances, and the Red Sea becomes a new arena for international competition, Europe's attention is fixed on this strategic territory. The port of Berbera, in particular, has become a vital link in global trade routes, drawing interest from major powers. Recognition would break decades of diplomatic convention, sending shockwaves from Mogadishu to Washington and Beijing. The Somali government fiercely opposes any move towards Somaliland's independence, while global powers weigh their own interests in the region. For Somaliland, recognition is the key to prosperity, foreign investment, and a rightful place among nations. It would mean access to international aid, trade agreements, and the chance to fully participate in the global community. For the EU, it's a chance to anchor stability in a region plagued by extremism, piracy, and humanitarian crises. European leaders see an opportunity to promote democracy and security while also protecting vital shipping lanes. But the risks are immense. New conflict, dangerous precedents, and unpredictable regional fallout. High-level meetings are underway, with diplomats weighing the costs and benefits of a decision that could reverberate for years. The question is no longer if, but who will recognize Somaliland first, and what will follow. Will this bold step inspire others or trigger a wave of instability? Will Brussels take this audacious step or retreat, leaving Somaliland in limbo and the region's future uncertain? The world is watching, and the stakes could not be higher. The answer will shape the Horn of Africa for generations, influencing not just borders, but the hopes and dreams of millions who call this region home. Somaliland's quest for statehood began in 1991, when the region declared its independence from the rest of Somalia. This bold move was not just a political statement, but a response to years of violence, oppression, and instability that had gripped the country. For many Somalilanders, the events of 1991 marked a turning point, a chance to reclaim their identity and chart a new course for their future. As the north broke away from Somalia's chaos, the rest of the country was plunged into civil war, with widespread unrest and displacement. The collapse of central authority left millions vulnerable, and Somaliland's leaders saw an urgent need to protect their people from the turmoil engulfing the south. In reclaiming its brief independence, Somaliland sought to restore the sovereignty it had enjoyed for a few days in 1960, before joining the Somali Republic. The sense of hope and determination was palpable as people celebrated in the streets, united by a vision of peace and self-governance. Unlike a typical secession, this was a response to dictatorship and civil war, a bid to build something better. Somalilanders came together to draft a new constitution, hold democratic elections, and rebuild their cities from the ruins of conflict. Their efforts were driven by a desire for stability, justice, and a government accountable to its people. For over 3 decades, Somaliland has built a functioning democracy, held credible elections, and secured its territory from terrorism and piracy. Its police and security forces have worked tirelessly to maintain peace, while citizens have participated actively in shaping their nation's future. Its strategic location on the Gulf of Aden, with the vital port of Berbera, has made it indispensable for regional trade and security. The port has become a lifeline for commerce, attracting investment and serving as a gateway for goods moving between Africa and the Middle East. Yet, despite its stability and progress, recognition remains elusive, blocked by the African Union's insistence on colonial borders and Somalia's objections. International organizations have hesitated, wary of setting a precedent, even as Somaliland's achievements stand in stark contrast to the instability elsewhere in the region. Somaliland is a state in all but name, trapped in a diplomatic paradox. Its government issues passports, manages its own affairs, and maintains order, yet it remains excluded from the global community and denied the benefits of formal recognition. But as global powers eye its stability and strategic value, the long wait for legitimacy may finally be ending. Increasing visits from diplomats and international media signal a growing interest in Somaliland's unique story and its potential role in regional security. The world is watching as Somaliland's case grows stronger than ever, and its people continue to hope that their decades-long pursuit of recognition will soon be realized. For years, the European Union has been a steadfast supporter of Mogadishu, pouring billions of euros into Somalia with the hope of fostering reunification and long-term stability. Brussels saw Somalia as a key partner in the Horn of Africa, investing in development, security, and humanitarian projects, even as challenges mounted. But a wave of global shocks, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, a string of military coups in the Sahel, and growing instability in the Red Sea, have forced European policymakers to rethink their approach to the region. These crises have stretched EU resources and attention, making it harder to maintain old commitments. Donor fatigue is setting in across Europe, as governments and citizens question the effectiveness of endless aid. In Brussels, officials are now searching for more reliable and self-sufficient partners who can help share the burden of regional security and development. Against this backdrop, Somaliland's relative stability and its strategic geography at the crossroads of the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden are suddenly impossible to ignore. Recent months have seen a flurry of diplomatic activity, EU delegations visiting Hargeisa, Somaliland leaders welcomed in European capitals, and conversations shifting from traditional aid to new opportunities in security cooperation and trade. Ethiopia's landmark sea access deal with Somaliland jolted Brussels into action, making it clear that other regional players are ready to move quickly and reshape the balance of power. Now the EU faces a pivotal choice: stick with old policies and risk being left behind, or recognize Somaliland as a potential solution to regional challenges rather than just another problem to manage. For the first time, Europe's political will and its strategic needs may finally be coming into alignment, opening the door to a new chapter in the Horn of Africa. EU recognition would trigger a domino effect, first in Europe, then across Africa. The UK and Nordic countries would likely follow, forming a powerful bloc and shattering the old consensus. The African Union would be forced to confront its stance on borders and statehood. Ethiopia could formalize its sea access deal, cementing a new regional axis with Somaliland. For Somaliland, recognition would open the floodgates to investment, loans, and security partnerships. Its untapped resources and strategic port would finally attract global capital. The Horn of Africa's balance of power would shift overnight, with Somaliland at its center. Recognition would unlock the region's economic and political potential after decades of stagnation. Recognition is a high-stakes gamble. Somalia would see it as a violation of sovereignty, likely severing ties and destabilizing its fragile government. Across Africa, fears of encouraging other secessionist movements would deepen divisions within the African Union. Regional powers, UAE, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, would be forced to pick sides, escalating competition in the Horn. China and Russia would almost certainly block Somaliland's UN membership, framing it as Western-backed separatism. The result, a divided international system and a new flashpoint in an already volatile region. For Somaliland's 5 million people, recognition is transformative. It would unlock access to global markets, loans, and investment, fueling development and prosperity. Security partnerships would professionalize its forces and secure the Red Sea corridor. Democratic institutions, long tested, would gain new legitimacy and strength. Somaliland could finally join the UN and African Union, giving its people a voice on the world stage. Recognition would end decades of isolation, opening doors for travel, education, and opportunity. For Somaliland, it's not just a political goal, it's the fulfillment of a national dream. The moment of decision is here. Somaliland's record of stability and democracy and its strategic value make a compelling case for EU recognition. The rewards: a steadfast ally, a stable trade route, and a new regional order. The risks: crisis with Somalia, emboldened secessionists, and intensified global competition. This is a test of Europe's political will and vision. Will Brussels lead or let caution and tradition prevail? The world and Somaliland await Europe's answer.